And it's sad that this is the United States of America. And right now, make no mistake about it, maybe through your very lenses, the entire world is watching this and they're laughing about what's going on.
Well, Eric Trump finally told the truth for once. Yes, Eric, the world is laughing at you and Don Jr. and your father and your whole family and your lawyers. And now Judge Arthur Engoron, who's presiding over the New York Attorney General civil fraud case, had to impose the same gag order that's imposed on the parties and your father because he attacked Judge Engoron's law clerk. Yes, that gag order now has to be imposed upon the Trump Organization lawyers, Alina Habba, Christopher Kise, and others, because they couldn't control their behavior and they attacked and slandered Judge Engoron's law clerk and defamed Judge Engoron's law clerk over and over again and made statements that there are two adversaries and that because the law clerk passes notes to the judge that shows that she can't be impartial and that she is biased against the Trump Organization, and they continue to attack her. And as the judge warned the Trump lawyers yesterday, it sounds misogynistic, your attacks as well. Also, this follows Donald Trump back on October 3rd when Trump showed up for 2.5 days, the first week of trial. We're now wrapped up week 5 of trial. What did Donald Trump do then? He attacked the judge's principal law clerk, posted images of her insinuating and defaming her as though she has some relationship with Democratic Senator Chuck Schumer, put in the public fora identifying information about Judge Engoron's law clerk so people would threaten and harass her. And then when Judge Engoron issued a gag order telling Donald Trump to take it down, Trump continued to violate that gag order. We here at MeidasTouch.com were able to identify a gag order violation, and our reporting was actually cited in an order by Judge Engoron finding Donald Trump in violation of the gag order the first time. And then Donald Trump violated it again 5 days after that. And now the gag order is imposed on Donald Trump's lawyers for their horrific behavior. So yes, Eric, the world is laughing at you. And one of the reasons why your family lawyers engaged in this tactic, there's an expression: if the law is not on your side, argue the facts. If the facts not on your side, well, if you're the Trump Organization, then you attack the judge and you attack the judge's law clerk. And as the judge made clear, you can attack me as the judge, and you've already taken advantage of that, but stay away from my staff. Do not attack the civil servants who work for me. They deserve far better than this behavior. And one of the reasons, again, why the Trump lawyers earlier in the day started viciously attacking the judge's principal law clerk is, Eric, you did so bad in your testimony, and Don Jr. did so bad in his testimony, and you both claim that you knew nothing about the statements of financial conditions, even though you were purportedly the co-trustees and leader of the revocable trust in the Trump Organization during the relevant time period, even though you made representations in writing and both signed your names that the statement of financials are true and accurate to the best of your knowledge, which they were not, as Don Jr. said in his testimony as he was shown the 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, where those certifications were made, and he claims to not read them or not have read them. Don Jr. said, rinse and repeat, and then started laughing. So, Eric, the world is laughing at you for that behavior. Let's take a look at Engoron's order right here, because when you look through this order and you look at this abhorrent behavior by Donald Trump's lawyers, it's like, who are these people? And I go back to what I said. They are MAGA. Make attorneys get attorneys, folks, because these lawyers have completely destroyed their reputation, although that ship sailed a long time ago, in connection with their representation, their behavior. As a member of the bar, let me just say how despicable and what shame they bring to our legal profession. It is so disgusting to observe what is going on here. So here's the order from Judge Engoron, who states as follows. On October 3rd, 2023, after defendant Donald J. Trump posted to his social media account an untrue, disparaging, and personally identifying post about my principal law clerk, I imposed on all parties to this action action a very limited gag order, forbidding all parties from posting, emailing, or speaking publicly about any member of my staff, emphasizing quite clearly that personal attacks on members of my court staff are unacceptable, inappropriate, and I will not tolerate them under any circumstances. I further made clear that failure to abide by this directive will result in serious sanction. Let's pause there for a second. Could you imagine not being able to follow that directive as a member of the bar, that you feel you have to go after the judge's law clerk? How pathetic of a human being, yet alone a lawyer, are you to engage in that behavior? The order goes on to say by Judge Engoron, on October 20th, 2023, upon learning that Donald J. Trump failed to remove the post from one of his campaign websites, donaldjtrump.com, for a total of 17 days, I imposed a fine of $5,000 against Donald J. Trump for violating the gag order. Pause there. It was MeidasTouch.com editor-in-chief Ron Filipkowski who broke the news about Donald Trump's violation there. You see the impact of MeidasTouch.com. So I'll just say, if there is any way to support the MeidasTouch network, you go to patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch, because you see the impact there. And by the way, back then, Donald Trump and Don Jr. then attacked MeidasTouch.
This is Michael Popak, Legal AF. Cold turkey may be great on sandwiches, but there's a better way to break your bad habits. We're not talking about some weird mind voodoo from your wacky neighbor or some sketchy message board. We're talking about our sponsor, Fume. And they look at the problem in a different way. Not everything in a bad habit is wrong. So instead of a drastic, uncomfortable change, why not just remove the bad from your habit? Fume is an innovative, award-nominated device that does just that. Instead of electronics, Fume is completely natural. Instead of vapor, Fume uses flavored air. And instead of harmful chemicals, Fume uses all natural, delicious flavors. You get it. Instead of bad, Fume is good. It's a habit you're free to enjoy and makes replacing your bad habit easy. Your Fume comes with an adjustable airflow dial and is designed with movable parts and magnets for fidgeting, giving your fingers a lot to do, which helps with de-stressing and managing anxiety while breaking your habit. The first time I used Fume, I was shocked at how flavorful and fresh it tasted. It's easy to hold and perfectly balanced. Quite honestly, extremely fun to fidget with. The real wood material and sleek design definitely classes it up, and I feel pretty darn cool holding it. Stopping is something we all put off because it's hard, but switching to Fume is easy, enjoyable, and even fun. Fume has served over 100,000 customers and has thousands of success stories, and there's no reason that can't be you. Join Fume in accelerating humanity's breakup from destructive habits by picking up the Journey Pack today. Head to tryfume.com and use code LEGALAF to save 10% off when you get the Journey Pack today. That's tryfum.com. Use code LEGALAF to save 10% off the Journey Pack today.
Let me keep reading from the order, folks. On October 25th, 2023, after conducting a brief hearing, I concluded that Donald J. Trump had intentionally violated my gag order by stating to a gaggle of reporters outside the courtroom the following statement in reference to my principal law clerk. Quote, "The judge is very partisan judge with a person who's very partisan sitting alongside him, perhaps even more partisan than he is, and I fined him an additional $10,000. I imposed the gag order only upon the parties operating under the assumption that such a gag order would be unnecessary upon attorneys who are officers of the court. Over the past week, defendants' principal attorneys, namely Christopher Keiss, admitted pro hoc vice, Clifford Robert and Robert PLLC, and Alina Haba, have made on the record repeated inappropriate remarks about my principal law clerk, falsely accusing her of bias against them and improperly influencing the ongoing bench trial. Defendants' attorneys have made long speeches alleging that it is improper for a judge to consult with a law clerk during ongoing proceedings and that the passing of notes from a judge to a law clerk or vice versa constitutes an improper appearance of impropriety in this case. These arguments have no basis. Pursuant to New York law, quote, a judge may consult with court personnel whose function is to aid the judge in carrying out the judge's adjudicative responsibilities or with other judges. This is precisely the role of a principal law clerk in the New York State courts. Moreover, ethics advisory opinions have further emphasized that the relationship between a judge and his or her law clerk, is one of particular trust and confidence. Although a judge and his or her law clerk are of course not partners, the two engage in the kind of professional interchange that might be found between longtime colleagues in a law firm. As I have stated on the record, seemingly to no avail, my law clerks are public servants who are performing their jobs in the manner in which I request. This includes providing legal authority and opinions, as well as responding to questions I pose them. Plainly, defendants are not entitled to the confidential communications amongst me and my court staff, who are hired specifically to aid me in carrying out my adjudicative responsibilities. Nor are they entitled to continue referencing my staff in the record. Defendants' attorneys have had ample opportunity to make their record, and they have at length. Indeed, I will assist them by repeating here that I will continue to consult with my staff, as is my unfettered right, throughout the remainder of trial. Accordingly, defendant's record is now fully preserved for the duration of the proceedings. Defendant's attorneys may refer back to this blanket statement in their appeal as they may deem appropriate. Defendants may reference my staff as is appropriate to ask about scheduling issues or the management of the trial, which is an integral part of their jobs. What they may not do is make any further statements about internal and confidential communications, be it conversations, note passing, or anything similar between me and my staff. Defendants' First Amendment arguments in opposition to the imposition are wholly unpersuasive. This gag order is narrowly tailored as possible to accomplish its purpose, which is to protect the safety of my staff and promote the orderly progression of this trial. As I have made clear, as the judge in this case and the trier of fact, the gag order does not apply to me. However, I will not tolerate under any circumstances remarks about my court staff. The threat of an actual violence resulting from heated political rhetoric is well documented. Since the commencement of this bench trial, my chambers have been inundated with hundreds of harassing and threatening phone calls, voicemails, emails, letters, and packages. The First Amendment right of defendants and their attorneys to comment on my staff is far and away outweighed by the need to protect them from the threats from physical harm. Thus, for the reasons stated herein, I hereby order that all counsel are prohibited from making any public statements in or out of court that may refer to any confidential communications in any form between my staff and me. Failure to abide by this directive shall result in serious sanctions. Signed, Judge Arthur Engoron, so ordered November 3rd, 2023. And I just want you to think about this, folks, in closing right here, which is the following. That even in all of Donald Trump's case, even in a civil case, this is someone who cannot just follow the rules that everyone else has to follow in court. He has to act like a maniac and attack not just the judge, which the judge says is fine, even though it's highly inappropriate, but the judge's law clerk. So just like in Washington, D.C., where Donald Trump is whining about a gag order imposed there, where he's talking about threatening and executing the former top general of the United States, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, and then Donald Trump is running to the Court of Appeals to beg for help to overturn Judge Chutkan. Here in a civil case, Donald Trump shows up for 2.5 days, threatens the judge's law clerk. Then his lawyers gang up on the judge's law clerk. Who behaves like this? And as I've said before, and let me say it again, this is not a political thing. It's not like, oh, as a liberal, you this, as a progressive, this, as a conservative. This is a human being thing. Behave like adults. Act professional. Stop breaking the law. It is an embarrassment to our nation. So going back to what Eric Trump said, the world is laughing at you, Eric, but because for reasons that are completely and utterly shameful. The Republican Party has hoisted your crime family up as its freaking cult leader. The world is also laughing at the United States of America because you and the Trump name and your despicable family shame our great country, our great Constitution each and every day. Shame on you, Eric Trump, the Trump family, and your lawyers. And to your lawyers, how dare you shame this profession the way you do? You are despicable. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 2 million subscribers. And if you want to help support the growth of this platform, you see the impact of our reporting, go to patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Have a good day.
Hey Midas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.